everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 839, a Thursday thriller and playoff permutations. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. Once again, slightly tired because I stayed up for another NFL overtime game. But other than that, doing pretty well.
I didn't think you stayed up because you were pretty quiet. So I thought maybe it was one of those ones where you were just like checking the score and not watching.
No, I was full on watching, but I was trying to limit phone time to try and keep myself as close to being tired as possible. Because I knew if I started
and dragged on.
And plus I also knew that we were going to record 7 hours after the game being over. So I didn't want us to have conversations that we were then going to redo on the podcast. Because obviously a lot of talking points from that game, maybe the most number of talking points from any Thursday night football game so far this season.
Yeah, really fun game. Good game. Yeah, I had to wake up a little earlier today because I had to make sure I shoveled the snow. And I realized when I start shoveling snow, I might have to stretch before because I thought about it. You know, you don't just wake up and go run and work out. You kind of have to warm up a little. And then I did the mistake of going out and just going ham on the snow to try and get it done as quick as I could. And I think I pulled my glute or something. It was not good.
That's a sign of getting
It wasn't
old.
that much snow. It was only an inch of snow, but I was really trying to go super quick because I knew we had to record. So I was kind of flying through it. I was like, oh boy, got to stretch next time.
I had that the other day when I played basketball with Vasilis and his brother, and then the next day had quite a bit of stiffness in parts of my body that I would have not used for anything else other than playing basketball. But I mean, we were mostly just shooting jump shots and stuff. So that was a little bit depressing to have sort of parts of my arm feel stiff because I shot, I don't know, 300 jumpers. It's not a great feeling.
Yeah. Well, we'll see tonight. Tonight starts the pickleball journey. We have our first practice today. Me and my partner.
Seriously. I can't wait. I can't wait to be able to play you again next time then, and we can see how much improvement you've made.
Yeah, it'll be a good barometer to see if I've actually improved at all. We'll see how serious we take it as well. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, should we kick things off with the Thursday night football discussion?
Yeah. The game that looked completely over until one punt return later, and it was a completely different game.
Yeah, I mean when when Sam Darnold threw that interception in the red zone, and the Rams got the ball back and a 2-score lead that also required 2-point conversion.
Points. Yeah,
the 2-point conversions, that did feel like game over. I mean, I know that they highlighted on the broadcast that the Seahawks had a 3% chance of winning at that point, which actually kind of felt high. If you'd really asked me from that do teams win a game 3% of the time when they're down 16 points in the fourth quarter and the other team has the ball? That doesn't seem believable to me. But yeah, that punt return just completely changed the complexion. And I guess we can start with the biggest talking point, which is the second 2-point conversion that the Seahawks had, where it was an incomplete screen pass where a whistle was blown to blow the play dead. However, it was then later adjudicated to have been a lateral / backward pass. Therefore, it was a live ball. And with the continuation of the play was shown to be a clear Seahawks possession in the end zone. And so they got the 2-point conversion, which was crucial, although a lot of the game still had to play out. Both teams had the ball multiple times after that. So it wasn't necessarily the determining factor, but certainly an important part of the game.
Yeah, it's a weird. This is another topic I feel like we cover multiple times in NFL season. Is the randomness at which they blow whistles really bothers me. Where there are times where a play was clearly not let's say it was a forward pass that they don't blow the whistle because it might be a fumble. and you're like, there's no way. Like you saw the ball. It was clearly a forward pass, but you won't blow the whistle because just in case. And that's fine. Okay, that's great. That's great when then in crucial situations, when it's a very close call and you're like, was that a forward pass? Was that a lateral? Ah, fuck it, I'll blow the whistle. And it's like, just let it play out. And I don't know. The whistle was a little weird because I didn't really hear it as well. I didn't know exactly. Like it was a little tough. So I'll give him a slight pass, but like why even make that a risk or like potentially altering that play? But the other part that was kind of weird about that play is even regardless when it's a whistle or not, NFL players are so adamant to do that. Like, oh, I'm gonna get the ball and run and run and run and run. I'm gonna run 70 yards down the field. Oh, well, there was a whistle. Oh, okay. Just making sure. Just making sure. It's like
But
you're an idiot. So like, but what's weird is like no one did it on that play. Like
no.
it was surprising that like at least 2 or 3 people didn't at least attempt to do it because I think had it just been, and I don't know exactly the rule, but I kind of think had like that ball rolled in the end zone and instead of just the Seahawk player picking it up, if a Rams player had also kind of tried to grab at it and it wasn't super, super clear that the Seahawks guy literally had it, was just standing there, they probably wouldn't have gave it to him. So all it required was like a Rams player to give like a half-ass effort to try and get it, and they probably would have not called it a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, I have to admit the play really bothers me because I understand by the letter of the law, it's correct. It's a backwards pass / lateral. It's with a clear recovery in the end zone and with a continuation of the same play, regardless of whether or not a whistle was blown. I get it. Checks all the boxes. But everyone on the field had stopped playing, with or without the whistle. Like, I don't actually think the whistle is the reason why everyone stops playing. The Seahawks player is only picking the ball up to toss it back to the officials. Like, he's not thinking that it's a live ball. Like, that's not why he picks it up. It's literally just the ball is there and he one hand picks it up and lobs it back. I don't think that's what replays should exist for, is to then adjudicate like, oh, was it backwards? Like that to me clearly on the field was a failed 2-point conversion. And there is no reason to be using replays to then try and determine, okay, it was we can find a reason to allow this to stand. And it goes back to like we sometimes discuss it right with VAR in the Premier League, where I think people should have to appeal in order for, like a goal will be disallowed that no one realized, oh, actually in the buildup that brushed his hand 2 passes previously. And so we can disallow this goal now. And in live play, no one was aware of that fact. None of the Seahawks players were saying like, oh, I think that's good. Just move on. They failed. They don't get that much luck. And the reason why I think the biggest argument to me for why it should definitely not have stood is because had a Rams player picked it up and started sprinting towards the Seahawks end zone, they would have undoubtedly blown it dead at that point. Because they'd already blown a whistle, they would have said, no, dead ball, stop. And so they then wouldn't have retroactively said, oh, okay, we know you were on the 30-yard line with no one around you, so you were definitely going to score. We'll give you the points.
Yeah.
Like, so if the only outcome of that can be one way, then you shouldn't be using replay for those purposes.
Yeah. Is that the rule though? Like, I don't even know, to be honest. Like, if he is clearly going to go to the end zone, but they blow that dead, does that not
No, they wouldn't.
count?
Yeah, they would just say, sorry, inadvertent whistle or, whatever terminology they would want to use. You
Yeah.
didn't make it. We didn't have the clear continuation of that play. You did not make it to the end zone. Therefore, sorry, like tough. And
Yeah.
like that to me is why when definitely they would not have allowed a Rams player to run 100 yards with that ball. It just wouldn't have happened. Then you can't have the reverse be true, that just because it happened to be a Seahawks player pick the ball up and toss the ball to the officials, that they get 2 points for that. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think that's what replay should exist for.
If there was like one Seahawks player that when that ball like fumbled forward, he was like really aggressive and went and grabbed it and got it, then you're okay with that?
Yeah. Like,
Just
for
like
example,
one, that's all, just one player.
yeah, if he had been diving on the ball and there had been like, he knows it's a live ball. To me, that feels, and then gets up and it's like, no, like replay. That was lateral.
Yeah.
That I'm okay with. But if it's just like, oh, actually we've reviewed it and no one understood this, like everyone thought it was dead ball, but you know what? Turns out it was a live ball.
Yeah.
So like everyone in the stadium, every player, every coach, every official, we all treated that like a dead ball. We're literally lining up for the kickoff. But now we're
Yeah,
going to throw
that's what was so weird.
we're
Everyone
going to
was like, "Wait, they're like,
throw
wait a second."
we're going to throw 2 points more onto the score. Like
Yeah.
that's insane to me. That's just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then obviously that was a huge game changer.
Yeah, and it kind of wasn't, right? Because, yeah, each team then got the ball multiple times and had the Seahawks been losing by 2 points, then, they punted back twice, and they would have gone for it
Yeah.
on 4th down, so it's not the reason. There was 6 minutes left, and the Seahawks had all 3 timeouts, so that's not the reason why the game went to overtime or the Rams lost, and the Rams had plenty of opportunities to win that game even afterwards. They missed a field goal that would have, again, probably would have been the game winner, but at least would have forced the Seahawks to drive down more. They scored the opening touchdown in overtime and then allowed the Seahawks to drive 65 yards to tie the game. That's my other gripe. I don't like how the overtime rules are now, and just knowing that the team that scores a touchdown first is going to just kick an extra point to be up 7, because to go for 2 and fail makes losing so much more likely, and that then the team going second just goes for 2 because it's a 50-50 shot at winning the game. That kind of favors them. Like, I think you have to fix that rule by either saying teams are required to go for 2 in overtime, or
Oh, the
you
Bill
cannot.
Simmons rule.
Yeah, or which basically just do college football like overtime and just have every team just go for 2, just have a 2-point shootout. Way more fun, like, to just watch that. Or say that on your first possession, you cannot go for 2. And so
Yeah.
that, like, if we're gonna say both teams get the ball, then at least put both teams in a sense in an equal position of, okay, now you've both got 7 points. Now it's next team wins. But it feels sort of stupid that we're now just going to watch every overtime game where the first team's going to score a touchdown, the second team's going to drive down, and they're always going to go for 2 now because they're
See,
just
I
going
don't
to
know
say that's.
though. If it were the Rams, I don't know that the Rams go for 2 because the tie works in their favor in that
Maybe.
instance.
I mean, in
Because
that
because the Seahawks needed the win because they don't have the tiebreaker against the Rams. So even if they tied that game, it was meaningless at the end of the day because they don't win that division. So like, and then they're in kind of like it doesn't matter. Like either we win this game and now we are in the driver's seat, or we lose a game or in the same spot we were. Whereas
well,
the Rams, with a tie, the Rams could still have won that division because they hold the tiebreaker over the Seahawks. So I don't
except
know if
don't
the Rams go for it.
I think they probably do. But if not too, I mean, the Rams maybe also would have backed themselves more. The only reason the Rams also might not, they forced, aside from the 65-yard drive that they allowed to lose the game, the kind of final couple of possessions, they forced punts, and they may have backed themselves of, we'll kick the ball off, and we feel like we can get a 3 and out or get the ball back. And there was, 4 minutes left in overtime, and they had a timeout because both teams burned timeouts prior to the 2-point conversion. But, you know, it just doesn't feel like a fun way to end a game to me. Just here we go. 1 2-point conversion. You also feel like nowadays they're probably going to get it, because the conversion rate does feel, especially for a good team, feels higher than 50%.
But if you don't
So
think it's good, like 1 2-point conversion, here we go, then why would you rather just do college where you just go for 2-point conversions? Isn't that the same thing?
because at least then it's teams answering each other. Because and
Yeah.
then at least like the drama is it's like a penalty shootout. But this feels to me the equivalent would be as if you played extra time in football and soccer, and you said it's not golden goal, but if you score a goal first, you can either elect to immediately take a penalty afterwards, and if you take that penalty, then the other team has to score and and also have the penalty. It's like
Yeah.
versus do you want a penalty shootout to decide it? It just feels sort of stupid. Like
Someone definitely had the Rams.
no, look if that's I just genuinely games have gone to overtime this season. I haven't enjoyed a single overtime game yet.
Oh, I thought that was
And
really fun.
the overtime,
Yeah, I thought the overtime was pretty good. I think both teams looked pretty good. That was a pretty good game.
both teams look fine. I mean, the Rams escaped, what could have been, should have been an interception. And then the Nakua touchdown was kind of bizarre
It's out of
because,
nowhere. The announcing
yeah,
was also out of nowhere. He was like, and Nakua's caught it, and he's gonna score. I was
and
like, wait, what?
it felt like there was going to be a flag thrown because he was so wide open. And then he also just kind of jogged casually into the end zone. And you're right. Like the announcers were just like, Nakua has it. And the Rams are scoring a touchdown. Like
Yeah. Al
that was
Michaels was
sort of
tired at that
strange.
point, man. He was done.
Yeah, I think we all were. But, you know, and then like
I did like
I all
it's. I don't want to rip on Al Michaels because actually I really like Al Michaels, but then my other favorite part was when the Seahawks scored and then they go for two. He's like, "Here they go. They're gonna pull in their best 2 point play here." And it's like, no, they've already gone for it twice on 2 points. I'm sure that
yeah,
was their best two. Now
yeah,
it's actually their third best 2 point conversion. Like, did you not
yeah, to
forget
the
what's happened the last 20 minutes of this game?
yeah. But yeah, it was a very good game. But no, the overtime I just think is a little bit of an anticlimactic experience. I'd also question the decision of the Rams to kick the touchback and just hand the ball to the Seahawks on the 35 or yeah. I understand that they're worried about the kick returner, and they've obviously just been burned by a punt return. And for the most part, teams, even when they are returning, are at least getting to the 30-ish, so it's kind of a negligible difference. I just think I would rather have the possibility of let's try and get this guy on the 25, on the 20. And psychologically, that feels so much different than they're going to get one first down and be in our half. And that's going to completely change. Like, it's going to put us on the back foot from one completion. And I don't like that.
The other this is kind of just semantics, but kind of is annoying. I think now I've watched at least 4 overtimes this season, and every time the team that wins the coin toss says they defer, and there is no deferring. Like, and they just cannot wrap their head around this concept. Like, it's not that difficult. You're going out there and you either say we're going to kick or we receive the ball, but they say defer because like in when
At
you
the
do in the
start of the
beginning of a
game.
game, you defer your decision. You want to decide at the second half what you want to do, which will obviously be receive. But it's like it's not that difficult of a concept for you to understand that the word is not defer here. It's either kick or receive. And every fucking time, because it just makes me mad because then we have to bring in the stupid rules analysts to say, well, actually, they can't really defer in that situation. So what that really means is that they're going to be kicking off first. It's like, yeah, just oh my god, it just what it makes it happen is just so annoying. Like, it's how can someone just not understand what words mean? Like, it's bothersome.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think, but then this is why they have to explain overtime to rules to us every time, even when they don't change with that great deal of frequency. But yeah, no. And the other big takeaway, I guess, for me, the Rams do just look like the best team in the NFL. Like when this does feel reminiscent of the conversation we had about the Lions, but there are just moments in the game when you're like, oh, I don't really see how you stop their offense because they do just kind of hit a sort of flow state at times in the offense, and they're combining like an efficient run game. They can throw downfield. The play action with Stafford is like impossible to stop, and they just have a lot. And Nakua is unbelievably good. And
Yeah.
then their defense is good enough to force turnovers and get stops. So whilst they're happy to be in a 30-point shootout, they're confident enough that in the fourth quarter they're going to make plays. And basically that's how that game played out, where they shut Sam Darnold down for the third quarter, and that should have been game over. Like some
Yeah.
weird things had to happen for it not to be. But yeah, they just feel the only thing that I think can hold them back, whilst I do think that their coaching is good, there are just moments where Sean McVay, I don't know, they're going for it sometimes, they're not going for it the other times. It's like, at least with Dan Campbell, you just know, okay, 4th and 5 and inwards, where like they had their opening drive where they were happy to go for it on their own 30-yard line, but then they
Yeah.
settle for field goals at different moments in time. It's like, when and why are you deciding that you have this confidence? Even at the very end of the game when they kicked that field goal that they ultimately missed, which I know they got a good field goal kicker, and that was well within his range, and it was a sort of semi-bizarre miss. But like, why don't you trust yourself, given the way that you've played most of that game, to pick up the yardage that you need to make losing impossible? Like, instead, it was like, yeah, you're going to kick the field goal, but there's still 2 minutes left. So you're probably looking at overtime anyway. And then you
Yeah.
miss it, and you got lucky to get away with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I do feel like when I watch them that they are the best team in the NFL, but then they lose these games that they shouldn't lose. Like,
Yeah. Well,
and I mean,
every
when you
game.
go back, like, their losses the Eagles, the Niners, which was also in overtime, right?
Yeah. And that's the one where they went for it on 4th down and failed. So again,
Yep.
it's a good example. And McVay then really weird 4th down calling over the course of that game. But yeah, that was that Thursday night game against
They're not good against Thursday
with
night.
yeah, they're not good prime time, which is a concern for playing in the playoffs.
What's
But
what's the other
so yeah,
loss?
the stupid loss to the Panthers.
Oh, the Panthers. That's right. That's
So yeah,
right. The Panthers.
they lost 33-26 to the Eagles beginning of the season.
That was
Okay,
early.
that was early. The Eagles looked good. That's not too terrible of a loss. And actually, at that point, we weren't really sure how good the Rams were at that stage. That was the like, is Stafford, how bad is his back? And, they were missing some offensive weapons too. But the loss to the Niners is difficult to explain given how many players, and the Niners had no one for that game on offense, and they lost. The loss to the Panthers, I suppose, as the season goes on, doesn't look quite as bad because the Panthers may be a playoff team, but then the Panthers are 7-6 and lost to the Saints twice on either side of that, beating the
Yeah,
Rams,
they put it all in on that game.
and got manhandled by the Niners. Like the Monday before, the Niners had absolutely manhandled the Panthers, and then that following Sunday, they just throw up an absolute stinker to lose that one 38-28. But yeah, there's some bad losses, which is worrying heading into the playoffs, thinking that can you trust them to win 3 or 4 games in a row when they do have these bizarre performances and bizarre losses and just bizarre decision making, both from Stafford and from McVay in crucial moments. Like
Yeah.
I don't quite trust either of them. Whilst they look unstoppable, there's just that weird thing of like, I don't know. I feel like you're going to call something weird, even though the play action has been just killing them all night. I feel like you're suddenly going to get to a 4th and 1, and like they did at one stage when they had run an outside run, where again you've been effectively running the ball up the middle, and your play action's been good, and Stafford in just short passing situations is pretty good at finding a tight end or a running back in the flat, whatever it is. And instead you're going to do an outside run, which now means your blocking has to be near on perfect. You have to set the edge perfectly, and you're asking your running back to run 7 yards to pick up 1 yard. Like the risk, the
Yeah.
potential for something going wrong there is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, that what's crazy is that division is still completely up for grabs now between the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Rams, with all three most likely going to be making the playoffs. But um, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I do think the Rams will win both of their
the
remaining
Rams will win
games.
out.
They've got the Falcons and the Cardinals.
Yeah, the
So,
Rams will win out.
but
Both of those teams have nothing to play for. They're going to just be Cancun ticket booking in the pregame locker room.
but yeah, it's assuming the Niners beat the Colts, and so they are, and the Niners can take the divisional tiebreaker by beating the Seahawks, because that would mean that the Niners only loss is once to the Rams, whereas the Rams would have
Two
two
division losses.
divisional losses. So, I mean, we probably, there's a strong chance. I mean, I say this, the Niners could easily lose to the Seahawks.
What's the Niners have the Colts, and what's the other game? What's their week
Uh,
16 or 17?
the Bears. So it's not a gimme.
Colts, Bears, Seahawks. Ooh.
Yeah. So it's tough.
Okay.
Like, I don't think the Colts is tough. That might come back to bite me. But like, if they can't beat a 44-year-old tubby quarterback, then I don't.
Hey! We're not bullies.
That's just an observation. All right.
It's just he's got the rib jacket on.
Oh yeah, under his skin.
Got the QB rib jacket. Leave him alone.
I've got a rib jacket
old.
on. I've got a rib jacket on as well. So, but yeah, it could be headed. I mean, as we spoke about last podcast, the one good thing about that is at least that could set up a very exciting final week end of the season, because that everything like the implications for the NFC West could be huge just on the entire NFC playoff picture. So those might be the only games worth watching week 18, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Should we move on to our predictions then for the remainder of the games from week 16?
Oh, we can do that.
Obviously got a little bit of a disjointed schedule this week because we have 2 Saturday games.
Love it.
Yeah. So not the usual rhythm. And the first of those Saturday games is the Eagles at home for the Commanders. Is that right?
Or should we go in like real chronological order, Eddie, for the weekend? Should we start with Alabama, Oklahoma tonight?
Well, we'll do college football afterwards. Otherwise, this is going to become
we won't
too
go
confusing.
chronologically. Okay.
Yeah. So no, it's the
Eagles Commanders, the first game.
Eagles, but at the Commanders.
Yes.
And the Eagles are 7-point favorites.
Yeah, I think a lot of these games, you and I are both going to agree, kind of just got to keep it simple with who's the team that needs to win and needs to play versus, like I said, who's the team that's thinking about their summer break or spring break, winter break vacations. And I think this is the classic example. The Eagles got to win this game to, keep riding into the playoffs. The Commanders have absolutely nothing to play for. I'm pretty sure Daniels has been shut down for the season. I actually don't know officially, but it seems like that. I'll take the Eagles here. They've been looking better. The defense has been looking better, at least you could say. I know that the offensive coordinator's house is getting egged on a regular weekly basis, which is fucking insane. Eagles fans are just next level. But the defense has been looking good. And, the Commanders defense, on the other hand, has not looked good. So I expect another pretty big Eagles win here. I'll take the Eagles to win and to cover.
Yeah, fundamentally, I agree with you. This feels like a little bit of, I feel like the line should be higher, but it's maybe a slight overreaction to the Commanders being competent last week against the Giants, which was, again, 2 teams that have really checked out. So I think you can't read too much into what happened there. But yeah, we've seen the Commanders be totally blown out in games and just not be competitive. And whilst the Eagles have been disappointing throughout this season, I think last week was an indication that, they're in win now mode. There's absolutely no excuses, and they should be able to brush aside a pretty mediocre team. Well, mediocre is being generous.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think you and I had both found a little bit of a glitch in the matrix where Saquon Barkley, who's normal, like anytime touchdown score is like minus 200, minus 300, had like moved his way all the way up to almost even money for a few weeks. And I have been hitting it for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. Unfortunately, it's with other shit that doesn't win, but he's been coming through lately. And the Commanders' run defense is awful. So this will be another game to kind of go heavy on Barkley. But I don't know. I feel like now that he's gotten back into form, I'm sure all of his numbers have gone down, a decent amount again. But
He's
I
still not
expect
that.
them to keep giving
He's
it to Barkley a lot.
he's not that far off even money. So he's 20 to 23 on.
Yeah. So like minus 120, 130.
Yeah. Well, not even
for American.
Yeah.
For American.
But yeah, he was even money 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Or just above.
And last week he was like
so.
yeah.
It's true. He's not exactly lighting it up. He's got one touchdown in each of his last 2 games. So it's not like he's suddenly turned into the dominant touchdown scorer that we saw last season. But yeah, I think it's probably true that they're trying to use him more in the very least. Copilot agrees with us. It has
what's the prompts
the theme.
This week?
So I once again let it pick its own theme.
Oh, God.
And it said pressure cookers and playoff dreams. Week 16 is a kitchen full of boiling pots. Some teams rising, some burning. Let's ladle out predictions with a little podcast sizzle.
It's not ladle out predictions. Oh, God.
So, Philadelphia bakes Washington 27-16.
I like that. That's a good one.
With Jalen Hurts adding 2 scores and the Eagles' pass rush turning the dial. Interesting stat. The Eagles, it's another spotlight divisional game. Philly's trench play has traveled well in these late season road tests. Sorry, that was a difficult sentence to...
What's the fun stat to know? That their trench has traveled well? I don't get that. Their fat players travel really well.
And then interesting stat for the Commanders. If they win the takeaway battle, they keep this in simmer. If not, the pot boils over. I'm not sure that's really a stat, but...
I think either of those are stats.
No. And then up next, really good Saturday night game. We got the Packers at the Bears, and the Bears are 1.5-point favorites.
Yeah. So the winner of this game clinches a playoff berth with the Lions' loss, but neither team can actually win the NFC North this week in this game. So it is very important, obviously, but it isn't the only determinant. So there still are ways that if the Bears lose, they can still win, but much more unlikely. This is tough because they did just play each other a few weeks ago, and the Bears lost that game very close, got down to the end, had a chance to win, and couldn't convert. And the Packers ended up winning that game, and that was with the Packers with Micah Parsons. I know that Micah Parsons is playing really great, and I know he's a difference maker, but I still just feel like the Packers are a better team than the Bears. I don't know why I feel this way. At the end of the day, I still kind of just trust the Packers a little more than the Bears. And I think maybe it's I trust Jordan Love a little more than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams having a great season, but he's still young, still kind of makes 1 or 2 bonehead plays a game that kind of you're just like, oh, he got lucky that wasn't intercepted or he didn't fumble that. Whereas Jordan Love is a lot more just like on point. So on that basis, I expect another fun, exciting game here, but I'm going to take the Packers to win this.
I'm going to back the Bears in this one. I think their run game, which has really picked up over the last few weeks of the season, I think in, cold weather, tight games, everything kind of becomes a little bit more compressed. Airing the ball downfield is going to be a little bit harder. I think they're going to be able to move the ball more consistently than the Packers. So since their week 5 bye, the Bears have led the NFL in rushing with 171.7 yards per game. And they're also the only team in the league with 2 runners who have both compiled at least 650 yards. So that's DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. So the name that everyone struggles with. But I think that's going to be the difference maker here. So I'll take the Bears. This would be kind of a stay away for me for betting purposes, but I'll back the Bears.
It is a tough game to bet. Like, especially with there's not much of a swing in the spread either. It's not like if we're like the Bears are getting 3, I probably actually take the
Yes.
Bears there, but it's
Yep.
1.5. That's not much you can do with that.
Nope. And Copilot has Green Bay winning. Green Bay claws out a 23-20 win as Jordan Love makes just enough throws, and the Packers front squeezes the pocket late.
Where's the kitchen ladle theme there?
Not really sure.
Okay.
And the stats are not good, so I'm not even going to bother with the
Okay.
stats. Next, we move on to the Bills.
Sunday games, right?
Sunday games, yeah. We now early Sunday games. Bills at the Browns, and the Bills are 10.5-point favorites. Guess we can kind of be quick on this one, which is there's very little reason to think that the Browns can be even remotely competitive. The Bills do seem to be finding their feet a bit. They're riding the high of that big comeback against the Patriots last week. They know every game is must win at this stage if they're going to take the division, potentially get the bye in the AFC, although that's completely outside of their control. But yeah, this Browns team, Shedeur Sanders looked awful again last week. You'd had the reasonable performance against the
the
Titans
worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, that had made people like, 300 yards for Shedeur Sanders. He's obviously good.
And lost.
Turns out no. So I mean, on the Browns front, this is just a watch game to see if Myles Garrett can break the sack record, because he's one off it now.
He's a 1 sack away from tying it. So then he's 1.5 sacks away from breaking it.
Yeah, and he should have a reasonable chance against a Bills team that does give up a few sacks. Plus, you have the benefit of Josh Allen does love to hold on to the ball for 55 seconds sometimes. So there's always a chance that you're just gifted a sack through that. But yeah, I think the Bills will win and the Bills will cover.
Yeah. See, and this is what's crazy, like in the NFL when you have nothing to play for. Did you see Denzel Ward's quote? He goes, "That's why I got to get back on the field," because he was hurt and he's been questionable to play. He said, "I told him, you don't break the record without me there. I got to go out there when he breaks that record. I'm hoping he gets to break it this week. And like I said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter when he gets it." Which is crazy that it's crazy for two things. One, it's like, this is all I've got to play for is to have a teammate break a record, which kind of sucks. But then it also speaks to how well liked Myles Garrett is, and almost to the point where it's like you feel bad for him, that he's a great player. He seems to be a great teammate. He's a really nice person. Like even off the field, he seems really nice and funny. And like, he's just stuck on one of the worst franchises in the history of the NFL. Like it is a little unfortunate.
As we've spoken about this obviously a couple of weeks ago, I disagree with you on that. Like, I think this is a much nicer story than people are acknowledging. And I think with the Denzel Ward thing, right, that's also a player who spent his entire career with the Browns. So, the two of them caring about what the other one could achieve also makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
it would just be nice if it mattered, like he's playing so well and he's getting this record and it's like really helping. Like, it just sucks that it doesn't really matter. It matters to him and it matters to that, but like it's not really helping the team. If anything, it's hurting the team, because the more wins they get, the worse draft pick they get, and they'll never get better.
The sacks are not translating into wins, so I don't think that's a big concern. But I mean, the argument could be, again, this is a conversation we already. I think people discredit how good the overall Browns defense is and the role that might be playing in some of the sacks that he gets. That it's not just him bursting through every time. There's pressure coming from multiple spots, and he's able to benefit from that. The other argument you could have, if he was on a better team, the other team wouldn't have the ball as much. Like if his offense were stringing together 9-minute long drives, he can't get a sack. He now benefits from, we forced them into a 3-and-out. Don't worry. I'll be back on the field in the next 3.5 minutes, even if things go really well, because we don't string together. Either we march downfield fast, or it's a turnover or a 3-and-out. So
I like that take though. He should gift the offense. Like, how they give the Christmas gifts, the quarterback is the lineman. He should gift the whole offense for sucking. This record's for you guys. Thank you.
Well, he could give all of the quarterbacks who've played for the Browns this season. I think he could give them a special
Yeah,
gift when he breaks
I
the
like that.
record.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah,
golden banana peel or something to thank them for their contribution to his record. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Here's
which
a pretty
we're
crazy stat from this game. Before, because obviously I think we're both going to take the Bills here. What's the spread again? It's 10 and a
10 and
half.
a half. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I think they'll cover that. I think Sanders is just so bad. But the stat here is Josh Allen has 3 passing touchdowns and no interceptions in his past 2 games. No Bills quarterback ever has had 3 straight games with 3 passing touchdowns. In the history of a very long franchise that have had some decent QBs, that is a pretty crazy stat. That no quarterback has been able to string together 3 games with 3 touchdown passes each.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is true. Now, speaking of the Christmas gifts, though, or end of season gifts, we're now in that time of year where we get to see what all these athletes give each other for Christmas. Obviously, I remember
Yeah.
we spoke a couple years ago when Joe Burrow gave his offensive line katanas.
Yeah.
So far, I've seen Luka Doncic give all his LA teammates electric bikes, and
Ooh, I
I
would take
saw
that.
s- I saw someone else give like go karts, which is a pretty common
Yeah.
gift. It is a
Purdy
weird
gave
one because
everyone cars, didn't he? Was that this
yeah,
I thought I saw that
that
this
was
year.
he definitely did that last year. Maybe
Oh,
he's done
oh,
it.
I
I
did
mean,
it
I think he
again.
just has a deal with like a Toyota dealership, and he's
Toyota,
just
yeah.
that's what's great about it when they're not even paying for them. That's
Yeah.
even because it does
I'm
raise
sure
an
they pay a
interesting.
little bit. I
You
mean, those
think?
cars are yeah, I mean, what he was giving them, that's like a $90,000 truck. So you're looking at what, 7 line it's almost $1,000,000. I don't think the dealership is giving $1,000,000 away. Maybe like 50% off or something like that. There's no way they're free.
You don't think so?
No, because not at a dealership level. Because like, it's not like dealerships, like a lot of times they make money, but they're not making enough that they can just cut 1,000,000 out of it for nothing, because it's not like when they show that video, they're not like, "Wow, thanks, Brock." It's like, "No, thank you, Toyota of Oakville." You know, like it's not, like you don't even
You
know
know
where
what?
those things are coming from.
What I disagree with you is I think there are definitely moments within those videos where they do name drop the dealership. So I think there is a little bit of coverage. But okay, free, no. But is it, hey, Brock, if this year you want to give all your linemen Toyotas, come play in our Pro Am, like the Toyota golf tournament that we have in March, and like do 2 more appearances for us, and we'll throw the cars in. Like no money is going to change hands here. Just show up and smile and be Brock Purdy for a couple days.
I'd do that for a car. Can I do that? I'll go play in a pro-am tournament.
Which as the am.
Yeah.
Hey, does the am get anything for turning up? what's 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 the sponsorship deal for the am in this equation?
I'll do that, and I'll do a couple, like, signings at the at the dealership.
Yeah, just set yourself up front outside of a Toyota dealership in Minneapolis. Just put a table out there and start signing footballs and see how long it takes someone to ask who you are. And,
Oh, that'd be so
and like
funny.
maybe if you signed 100 footballs, maybe then try and say like free lease. Is that on the table? Look at all the people carrying around my footballs. That can't
I'll
mean
put up
nothing.
I'll put up signs, like a few miles away being like, "Special autograph signing session today at the Toyota dealership from 2 to 3," and, like, get all the traffic to come in and just start signing.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it. But I look, in all likelihood, do they pay something for the cars? Yeah, probably. The e-bikes and stuff, I think that's just a complete freebie.
Yeah.
What blows my mind is how excited those athletes do get, though. And I understand some of them are not earning as much. I mean, to say some of them are only earning $400,000 a year. So when someone does give you something that's worth $6,000, $7,000, that's still super nice. Some of these guys, when they're earning 40 million a year plus whatever additional income they have, and they're like, oh my God, an e-bike. I can't believe it. It's like, dude, you could buy an e-bike without even noticing. I don't know why this is surprising you so much. Speaking of which, before we move on, though, I don't know. We discussed the weird AI trends. There is an X, formerly known as Twitter, is such a toxic place at the best of times. There is now a new sort of like AI trend going on where they speak about the salaries of NFL players and how underpaid they are. So I'll give you an example. Rams star wide receiver Puka Nacua revealed that he cannot afford a home in Los Angeles and has to rent an apartment. Nacua was a fifth-round pick, will only make $1 million this year. He has to pay $523,000 in taxes and only comes home with $480,000. Sort it out, NFL. And I see 4 or 5 of these now a day. Some of them I think are ironic because people have picked up on the trend, but some of them are just Russian bots just spreading, trying to make us feel bad for NFL players for some reason.
Yeah. Well, what's weird, I mean, that part that is what Nakua makes, though, because he's on his rookie contract still.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't feel sorry for him that he has to rent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that a 22-year-old can't afford to buy a house in LA. Like, what a travesty. This is
and also that's bullshit, because how much do you think he's making in endorsements?
Yeah, probably doing pretty well. Well, maybe not quite so much after his controversies of the last week and getting him.
He took it back, though. A little unfortunate there because, like, I
He's
watched
just
the
so
video.
stupid.
Yeah, first off, he's just with stupid people. Like, he's like, they're just streamers or whatever the fuck they are, and just like kind of being stupid. But also, like, he genuinely didn't know what they were asking him to do, and he just kind of thought it was funny because they thought it was funny. And then as soon as like someone was like, because like what was overblown is, or like, I saw the post of being like, you won't believe what like derogatory blah 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 thing Puka Nacua is gonna do, and it's like, I guarantee you, as soon as he found out what that was, he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that, man." Like, oh, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of has
Oh,
like
no,
a
he's just a
negative
moron.
connotation. Yeah, like I think he was just with idiots, and the idiots were like, "Oh, it wouldn't be funny." He's like, "Oh, what, like this? Is this funny?" And like, "Yeah, it's funny." He's like, "Okay, cool, I'll do it." And then someone was like, "Actually, that's like one of the like really shitty things." I was like, "Oh, okay, then I won't do it." Like
Yeah.
it was a little overblown.
I do agree with you, and I was expecting it to be something far worse when I saw the headline before seeing the actual video. So for those unfamiliar with it, he was on some YouTube videos with a couple of different streamers and YouTubers, and one of them tried to tell him, like, next time you score a touchdown, do this celebration, and it involved sort of like money, some sort of vaguely anti-Semitic gestures within it, but that even then, I mean, that makes it sound more serious almost than it was. I'm not downplaying it, but it certainly wasn't. The headlines definitely sounded worse. But I don't know. My big takeaway from that interview with him or those series of YouTube videos, and if you want to give him the real reason to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not anti-Semitic, because he also did say that concussions are not real. Quote, it's all in your head, which I suppose technically is true. So it's, but But basically that he just thinks concussions don't exist.
No, they exist, but they're just in your head.
Yes. So
There's a
next
part
time,
of what he said that like he could somehow swing to be true.
yeah, like
And I don't
The
know
Kyrie
how.
Irving move.
Yeah, but it's like, no, they're not an injury. They're just something that happens in your head. It's like, yeah, they are. You're right, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And probably someone's tried to it's a brain injury, it's in your head. Oh, okay, it's just
yeah,
all in my head. Okay, I don't need to
yeah.
worry about it then. And that is the thing. You have to put those two conversations together, and that's why you gotta give him the benefit of the doubt when he then does something offensive because he's just a playful idiot, like, and I did see one description of him on and just response to the controversy on, I think it was on Twitter, but somewhere, which just says, we need to start thinking of athletes like Tom Hanks's character from Big and just accept the fact,
That's
just,
really good.
just accept the fact that these are just children in men's bodies and that we can't hold them to the same standards that we do other adults.
That's pretty funny. Oh, that is kind of funny. Yeah, and then the other part too with him, like, and I don't understand what was, because like obviously I'm not on like all these types of different social medias, but whoever he was with, he was doing a bunch of those videos, and one of them was supposed to be in the locker room, And McVay was like, fuck no, you're not coming in this locker room. That was really good. I love that move by McVay. Where it's just like, no, it's a fucking day before a game. You're not fucking coming in here.
Yeah, and he'd already
And
had
then
an
they
issue.
filmed from like the parking lot.
Yeah. And he'd already had a problem, right, the week before for live streaming anyway, post-game in the Rams locker room. I don't know if you'd seen that, and some veteran players that got really annoyed with him for doing that because obviously, like all NFL teams, they have pretty strict rules about live streaming and stuff. And you can hear on his live stream, one of the guys is like, "Are you live streaming? You're not supposed to do that." And he was like, "I'm not live streaming." The guy's like, "I can see your screen. You're live streaming." And Nakua's just like, no, I'm not. Just sort of, and then defends himself by like, it's just showing me. And the guy's like, don't do that. And which what I love about it for two reasons. Why would you do it? One, it's a bunch of other guys walking around naked. And two, there are some conversations going on that there are some conversations going on that obviously you do not want going public, whether that's actual important stuff in response to the game or just someone being like, fuck that guy on the other team.
Trash talking.
Yeah. And then like, that just went out to 1 million people.
Yeah. In-house trash talking that doesn't leave the locker room.
Yeah. All right. We can now move on to the next game. This nearly made it, but I can't quite. It's Bengals at Dolphins. With the Bengals now 4-point favorites. Sad news. It's speaking of people who don't believe in concussions, appears to be the end of Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. Yeah. He has been dropped as starting quarterback. He's now third string quarterback. So not even backup, which I mean, I think this is the last we see of him as a starting quarterback, certainly with the Dolphins, but maybe ever.
No, he'll start somewhere.
You think?
Who would you rather have, Phillip Rivers or Tua?
I mean, right now, yeah, obviously, but
yeah,
obviously Tua. But I mean,
will he start the season as a starter? Probably not.
Obviously, his future with the Dolphins, I suppose, depends on how Ewers does. Because if Ewers is
Oh, Ewers. I thought you said yours. No. I was like, what is my situation with the Dolphins?
How your signing goes with the Toyota outside the Toyota dealership.
I didn't get that call yet.
Maybe if they're really popular with Toyota, then the Dolphins might sign you. But, you know, if Ewers does well, then obviously it's his job to lose the beginning of next season. And like, they can't. How long does he have left on his contract? So he has still 3 more years left on his deal. That they have a potential out at the end of next season. So I mean, he's not
staying there.
Yeah, he's not tradable.
Unless they cut him.
The impact would be too great. So like if they're going to cut him, the time to cut him would be the end of next year, when he would then be a $34.8 million dead cap hit.
Jesus, that's crazy.
But I mean, next year he's earning $39 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, he might get traded mid-season next season if he's still not starting to a team that like needs a quarterback. You know, like the Colts, like at this stage or something like that.
Except
because if
you have to be. Because this stage, the problem for the Colts at this stage, right, is the trade deadline's passed. So you need to be a team like real mid-season, and usually teams then roll the dice more on someone like Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like where it's cheap and you don't create a QB controversy, and it's just someone who maybe you can hang around as a backup for the next year. But Tua's still going to be expensive if you take him on a trade. So no one's going to want to be like, do you know what we want to spend on our backup quarterback? $40 million.
Yeah.
That would be great. So I don't think he's tradable.
Looking at the list of teams, just really quickly, I mean, the Cardinals have a situation with Kyler Murray with what they're going to do. So that would be like maybe a potential. The Falcons, you think that they're pretty set with who they have. And then you go through a bunch of the teams are pretty set. The Bengals, if they end up getting rid or trading Joe Burrow, might be in need of a quarterback. The Browns always need a quarterback. uh, Kind of going through the Colts. We don't know what the Colts are going to end up doing with Daniel Jones. The Raiders always need a quarterback. The Vikings maybe with McCarthy, and the Jets as well. And the Steelers always need a quarterback. But other than that, everyone else is pretty set at quarterback.
Yeah, and most of those teams probably will be drafting someone, right? And
Yeah.
again, he's not cheap.
No.
So I don't think Tua is ever a NFL starter again. Like, do I think that he could maybe he's a backup who starts a game in week 16 when
Okay.
a guy's injured, but I do not think that he is ever
A week
first on the
one.
depth chart, or even not week 1. I mean, like Ewers is now number 1 on the depth chart for the Dolphins. He's now a starter in the NFL. I do not think Tua will ever be in that position again. I think that's it.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe.
Because here's a big thing. A lot of those teams you mentioned, his record in cold games is so bad that if you are like the Steelers could not.
Arizona. That's it.
That's
Arizona or Vegas.
yeah, because and even Vegas, you'd have to worry like, oh, we got to go play the Chiefs. So like if our road game against the Chiefs isn't scheduled for like before Halloween, we're fucked. That's a loss. Like, yeah, the Cardinals could at least say that all of their divisional games are in conditions that Tua should be fine in. And so you're only going to have, 1 or 2 games this season that you really need to worry about. But you can't be the Steelers and just say, uh-oh, October 15th onwards, our quarterback is not suited to the conditions in which we play.
All right. Well, I'll make this one easy. And I'll just say the Bengals to win and to cover. I'll take Burrow over Quinn Ewers.
I will too, yeah. The only risk here is obviously a somewhat checked out Joe Burrow and a very checked out Bengals team. But yeah, realistically, I think they'll want to prove a point after how bad they were last week against the Ravens. But if they lose this, I think you could start to have the serious conversation of who retires first, Tua or Burrow.
I was gonna say how close is Jamar Chase to 1,000 yards, because that could be something they could play for. Unfortunately, he's already got 1,000 yards, so he's probably already hit his bonuses.
Yeah, I will take the Bengals to win and to cover. But Copilot disagrees with us. It has Miami rides the wave 28-20. Unfortunately, I'll give it a pass on this one because this is relatively sort of later news. But with Tua Tagovailoa distributing and the Dolphins' speed stressing Cincinnati's safeties. The interesting stat is that T. Higgins has been battling concussion protocol.
I think Copilot Sam needs to redefine what is an interesting stat.
And the interesting stat for the Dolphins is that Miami thrives on motion and misdirection. If they win the first 15 scripted plays, they tend to keep the temperature high.
Stats. These are just observations.
But that's sourced from Bengals Wire. Anyway, up next we have this brings joy to my heart. For the first time in the history of the podcast, a game that I do not want to see a single second of will include the Kansas City Chiefs. And it is. Some thought it would never happen, but it has. And that is the Chiefs at the Titans. And
Are
the
we sure
Chiefs.
this is the worst game of the week, or are you just doing it to be against
Oh,
the
there could be
Chiefs?
no. There are multiple games that I do not
Okay.
want to see any of. This is the losing
Yeah.
horn we'll get. You will hear the losing horn again. But the Chiefs at the Titans, and the Chiefs are 3-point favorites with Gardner Minshew starting under center.
Yeah, let's keep it simple because this game doesn't matter for anyone. I'll take the Chiefs to win and to cover just because their defense is better than the Titans' defense. So I think they'll be able to hold them and potentially win this game. But I would not bet on this. If anything, I would prefer the Titans win because it would give the Giants some cushion there for the number 1 playoff pick. But I think the Chiefs will win.
Yeah, this is a tough one because this ultimately is how checked out are the Chiefs. Like, how much of a blow will it be for them to be out of playoff contention, to have Mahomes injured? Like, is this just this is the team that's the biggest candidate for just a complete, we don't want to be here anymore. Like, let's just get to the end of this season as fast as possible. And the Titans have been frisky at certain moments in time. Like Cam Ward has looked okay and they can score points from time to time. But yeah, I still think I can't go as so far, no matter how down I've been on the Chiefs all season. I cannot go so far as to predict them to lose to the Titans. So I will take the Chiefs to win and the Chiefs to cover. And co-pilot, totally agrees with me on this game not being remotely watchable and did not even include it.
Perfect.
And well, not a good one for
Patrick
co-pilot.
Mahomes.
Yeah. Kansas City Chiefs keep the kitchen sizzling with a 31-21 win in Nashville. Patrick Mahomes dices up the Titans secondary for 3 touchdowns, spreading the ball to Rashee Rice and rookie Xavier Worthy.
Jesus.
Interesting stat. Chiefs Mahomes has thrown multiple touchdowns in 7 of his last 8 December games. It is true. We at least get to avoid that storyline about how good Mahomes is in December. Up next, we have the Chargers at the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are 2-point favorites. I'll be quick on this one because I think this is a really bad matchup for the Chargers. They've kind of ridden their
Oh,
luck in the last couple of games against teams that haven't scored points. And I think the okay, you have to expect that Herbert's hand is getting better week by week, but still the limitations on them because of the injuries to their offensive line and then the injury to Herbert means that I do not think they can be involved in shootouts. And I just think that this will be a Cowboys team coming out at home, nothing left to play for, just shooting from the hip and, happy to score 45 points while the other team scores 30. And I just don't think that the Chargers can remotely keep pace with that. So I think this will be a win for the Cowboys and a pretty devastating win for the loss for the Chargers, obviously, given their, the AFC playoff picture and their divisional playoff standings too.
yeah. I kind of agree with you. It's not an optimal matchup for the Chargers. Um, so the Cowboys aren't technically eliminated from the playoffs yet. They can still somehow make it if the Eagles lose out and they win out. So if the Eagles do win, then they're eliminated, but they're playing at the same time. So they or the Eagles on Saturday? The Eagles are the first game on Saturday, right, against the Commanders. So they could be going into this game. Yeah, the Eagles play Saturday. That's right. We just went over that. So they could be going into this game knowing they already can't make the playoffs. So that could impact how they play a little bit. um, so I'm going to go off the fact that the Eagles win and the Cowboys know they're eliminated. And at that point, I think there's going to be a little less motivation here. I think the Chargers have a legitimately good defense too, and I think they'll be able to hold the Cowboys a little better than a lot of teams can. I do agree with you. If it becomes a shootout, the Chargers are not equipped for that. But I don't think it'll be a shootout, and I think the Chargers will win this 24-21.
Wow, pulling out your co-pilot now, pulling out specific score predictions.
Yep.
Well, co-pilot has Dallas winning this game. Dallas turns up the heat at home, winning 28-23 in a game that feels like a playoff rehearsal. Dak Prescott continues his sharp 2025 form, throwing for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns, while CeeDee Lamb racks up 9 catches and a score. So, there you have it. Up next, we have the Vikings at the Giants, and the Vikings are 3-point favorites. I'm not going to play the losing horn for this one because this at least has some. I mean, you can just convince me that it's still worth kind of seeing what Jackson Dart is up to and sort of seeing what's going on with JJ McCarthy. Like, there's at least neither of these teams has anything to play for. The Giants have a reason to lose, but that I still think I don't want to watch this game. This is not. I wouldn't stick this on primary screen and only be watching it, but I won't be annoyed when I'll be annoyed when a highlight shows up and I have to listen to Scott Hansen talking about how well Gardner Minshew is playing. I won't be annoyed when it cuts to showing me a Jackson Dart just getting obliterated and when he refuses to run out of bounds.
No, running for a 10-yard touchdown, but then as he crosses the line, just getting demolished. um, yeah, this is a tough. Like, I think the Vikings will win this, and I think they'll actually win it pretty comfortably, solely on the basis of the fact that their defense is really good and they're so difficult to understand what they're doing on defense. They mix things up. They hide so much different coverages and blitz packages and everything. Their scheme is very tough to read, especially for a rookie quarterback. So I think Dart will struggle a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Dart gets a ton of rushing yards because he ends up just scrambling a lot because he can't get a good enough read. But I think McCarthy looked better last week. I think he'll look good this week because the Giants have an awful secondary and just an awful defense in general. So I think you'll have a pretty good performance by JJ McCarthy here, and the Vikings will win this. I think pretty comfortably. But yeah, I agree with you. This isn't a must not watch, but it's not really a must watch.
Yeah, there's some storylines here. I agree with you. The Vikings defense maybe slightly underrated, came into this season with such high expectations for them, and they haven't been terrible. And JJ McCarthy, he's inconsistent, but he's not as bad either as people made out at different moments in time. So, and look, if the Giants are smart, they lose this game. This is
Eddie, the Giants are not smart.
No,
Twice
they aren't.
in the last 3 years, they've had the number one pick locked up, and they fucking go out and win a game to lose it. They're not
Yeah, and
smart.
this is even harder because you have Jackson Dart, who definitely, I don't think you could tell, hey, we kind of want to lose this game. It's not in his DNA, which is a compliment to him.
But yeah, and I'll at least give that a pass because it's slightly different because he is the starting quarterback and needs to set a tone. They
Yeah.
lost it 2 years ago with Tommy DeVito fucking subbing in as like a third string. And then last year, was it last year? When Drew
Last
Luck
year, yeah.
won them the
Yeah,
fucking
against
game
the
and they blew
Colts.
the number one pick. Fucking Drew Luck. Where's
But
that asshole now?
but here's the thing is, right? Is that more annoying or more understandable? Because if you're Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock, like that's an audition for you. Turns out doesn't matter.
Turns
But
out that audition means nothing.
but it still is. I think that's a harder thing to say to someone. It might be a little bit easier now to say to, Dart, look, not saying lose on purpose, but we can game manage a loss here. When it's 3rd and 15, we're fine with a 5-yard check down. Like that's okay. Like we don't need to be pulling out all the stops. Our play calling is going to be a little bit conservative, but you don't need to worry about it because A, we're trying to keep you healthy going into next season, and B, that this is your job for the next decade. So like I
Just put
almost
Russell
feel
Wilson
like
in.
I mean that's the move ultimately. It's the risk though, because that's what the Giants have done the last couple of years, and then it will be Russell Wilson throwing for 400 yards.
He
But
can't throw for 400 yards.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch Russell Wilson be good
I don't
for
think he
one
even
last
suits
time.
up anymore.
Yeah, you see him on the sideline. But yeah, I'll take the Vikings to win and to cover. And Copilot has
I mean, interesting question before you say what Copilot says. If you were the Giants and you had to pick someone to lose the game, do you put Winston in or do you put Wilson in?
Is Jameis
Because
Winston even still a player at this stage, or is he just will he just
yeah,
be
he played like 2 weeks ago, Jameis Winston.
I know, but then he's been in studio relentlessly since then. So what's his status?
That's what I mean though, because like Jameis Winston is clearly checked out. So like he might be your best bet. And also he is known to just throw like a 5 interception game. But at the same time, he's probably got the best arm on that team still and can throw for like 600 yards.
Yeah, no, Jameis Winston's not the move. I mean, we saw that a couple of weeks ago when he lost, but they were winning that game, and he actually played until the final stretch. He played pretty well. Jameis Winston is capable of having the 450-yard, 5 touchdown game, and Whereas Russell Wilson probably doesn't have that in him at this stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to lose, Wilson's probably the move. Copilot has the Vikings winning. Minnesota cooks up a win 27-21 with J.J. McCarthy showing poise in his rookie season.
Oh
Tossing
boy.
2 touchdowns and leaning on Justin Jefferson, who hauls in 8 catches for 120 yards.
Wow. Okay.
New York keeps it close thanks to Jackson Dart, who throws for 230 yards and a score.
So if McCarthy's on his rookie season, is Dart still at Ole Miss? With playing for the Giants this week?
To be fair, I corrected it because they said Daniel Jones, and I was being really nice to Copilot. Because if you want the real prediction, it's New York keeps it close thanks to Daniel Jones, who throws for 230 yards and a score, while Malik Neighbors continues his breakout campaign.
Oh my God. It's got the wrong year. Fucking idiot.
All right. Up next. I told you we wouldn't only have one losing horn. And it's back. Jets at Saints. Saints are 6-point favorites. Unbelievable that this Saints team can be favored by almost a touchdown against anyone. I know they have been resurgent over the last couple of weeks. They had that win against the Panthers, 2 wins against the Panthers over the last 5 weeks. Shuck looks pretty decent, actually. Like, that's a good example of a guy who got his chance sort of late in the season with little to no expectation. And now if you're the Saints, you start to feel like you maybe have someone you can trust at the quarterback position or at least move forward with. And I think in stark contrast to then what you see from Shuck versus Shedeur Sanders. Shuck, does not look like a finished product. Do I think he's going to be winning a Super Bowl at any point in his career? Probably not. But he at least looks like an NFL starter, and you see glimpses of something with real quality. And you just don't get that from Shedeur, really.
Well, I mean, and listening to McShay talk about Shuck, because I think a lot of people think Tyler Shuck is just like this guy who came out of nowhere, but he actually was a really highly recruited high school quarterback. He was like 5th or 6th in his class coming out of high school. Like, he was a great recruit, and he went to Oregon to be Herbert's replacement when Herbert left, but then played okay, but then kind of had 2 or 3 bad games, and they ended up going with the other quarterback at the end of the day. So then he had to transfer, and then he transferred again, and then he got hurt. So it's the story of a quarterback who like was supposed to be really good, but then things just never like came into place in college. Like, he never got that spot that he was able to really shine in. So he has a lot of talent, but he's just kind of been under the radar for a while. So, and I think that is different than Shedeur Sanders, who has kind of almost been the opposite. He doesn't have the talent, but he's always had the spotlight and the opportunity to shine, where like a quarterback with actual talent probably would have done 10 times better than kind of what he did. So I think, I think this is a great situation for Shuck to kind of get in here and play a few good games and show he's a decent quarterback and maybe build off of this. And we'll see with the Saints. Who knows?
Yeah, and what better opponent than the Jets? I mean, this is, you couldn't have dreamt of a better end of season opportunity than to play against a very terrible team that's definitely checked out. So
we've talked about this game too much already.
Yeah, I'll take this. I'll take the Saints to win. I'll take them to cover just because they at least look like they are still trying, and the Jets do not.
Oh,
And
the Jets
so
are checked out.
I can't take the Jets plus 6 points, even though I'm amazed that I'm taking the Saints minus 6 points, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just so Shuck has won his last 2, and he's actually got the Jets, Titans, and Falcons to round out the season. So he could be on a 5-game winning streak and look good in those games. And that would be awesome, like for him, I think, as a rookie QB to kind of ride that into the offseason.
Yeah, and Copilot agrees with us. As New Orleans, I've asked it to correct it, and I think we might have the right weeks and the right seasons and the right players for the remainder of the picks. Wow. New Orleans takes it 23-13. Rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck stays efficient while Alvin Kamara adds 80 yards. Jets rookie Brady Cook struggles. Jets tried to bake a cake without sugar. It didn't rise.
But sugar doesn't make it rise. It was so close to a good one.
Also,
Why
too, because
couldn't
they
it
could
be
have.
like he tried to make a cake without sugar, but it just wasn't sweet enough for the win or something?
But also,
Like,
once you're running with the cooking theme and you've acknowledged the existence of Brady Cook, why wouldn't you lean into that for the little quote? But it's okay. That's better than it's been doing so far this week. Up next, we've got the Bucks at the Panthers, and the Bucks are 3-point favorites. I don't know what to make of this Panthers team at this stage. They're losing games to the Saints. They're beating the Rams. Bryce Young looks good some games, looks absolutely awful others. And I think for that reason, I just had to pick the Bucks to win and the Bucks to cover because you just don't know what you're getting from Bryce Young, or you don't know what you're getting from the Panthers. And like Baker and the Buccaneers are at least somewhat consistent. And with some of those players coming back, with Mike Evans being back, more of his weapons, a little bit more stability around him, you just think that they can produce a little bit of consistency throughout the game, score points on a fairly regular basis, and should just have too much for this Panthers team.
yeah, I mean, my worry with the Bucks is they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games. They are on like a cliff dive right now, and not great losses. I mean, you're talking the Falcons, the Saints. Those are not good teams at their last 2 losses. But then the Panthers also lost to the Saints. So, but then they beat the Rams. So I don't know what the fuck that means with the Panthers. I agree with you completely. The Panthers are an enigma here. Yeah, I think I want to take the Bucks, but I think I need to take the Panthers. I,
Well, okay. All right.
it's one of those. No, I agree. Like the way I think about this game is I do think the same way you are in saying that like you can't really trust the Panthers and the Bucks on the whole. We feel that they're more consistent, but they're just not very good lately. Like they're not as consistent as I think we think they are, and at least the Panthers have glimpses of being really good, and I'm just hopeful that maybe they put another good game together here when it matters, and that they'll beat the Bucks. But this is a tough game. Like I don't know how you bet this game.
Oh, no chance. Maybe in running, this might be a check the score at halftime and then it gets thrown into a rebet because the Bucks are up by 14 and you're happy to have them 1-5 in some kind of money line bet. Even then, I would urge caution because
I don't like that at all.
Copilot says Tampa Bay sneaks this 26-21. Baker Mayfield finds Mike Evans twice, but Panthers quarterback Bryce Young keeps it close. This is a sandwich game. Panthers had the bread, but the Bucks had the meat.
Also, this game is on the Atkins diet.
Can you just no, we never really spoken about obviously the implications of AI taking over things, and I think our usage of Copilot is an indication that we might be further away than some people believe. But when Elon Musk had that weird thing where he encouraged people to use Grok at dinner parties to find funny jokes, could you imagine if maybe Grok is slightly better for jokes than Copilot is, but if I was trying to contribute to dinner party conversation and I said something along the lines of, you know what, that's a real sandwich game. Panthers have the bread, but the Bucks have the meat. I mean, I don't know if anyone speaks to me again.
People are like, put him at the kids' table.
Yeah, just get him away from us. Whoever that guy is, please get him away. All right, up next, we have the Falcons at the Cardinals, and the Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. This one probably deserves the losing horn, but
Give
I
it.
think that
Thank you.
the only reason I was a little hesitant is because Kirk Cousins, he's obviously preparing for his media career. I don't know if you've seen him in press conferences this week, but he's been really trying to share as many details as possible. He was speaking about the different ways in which the reads are being made now and progression reads versus when he came into
he got into a flow state, he said.
Yes. And I think he's trying hard. This is a man who is very much aware of the fact that the end is near and that he may not be the best positioned for a media carear. And that
this is a man who's recognized there's no way he's getting a third contract of $100 million. He's already snuck his way into 2.
Yeah. Well, maybe with Fox, who knows? But yeah, Also, did you see that Tom Brady this week said he 100% believes that he could not only play in the NFL right now, but that he would win games?
Oh, I think if the Colts had Brady on that team, they win that game last week.
Well, yeah, that's not saying much. That was
But there we go. He could play and win games.
yeah. It's also we didn't even address the fact how what two vastly different Seahawks performances there between struggling to beat Phillip Rivers and then keeping pace with the Rams. But I mean,
Yeah.
riding their luck a little bit in order to do so. But yeah, um, in this game, I'll be quick. I'll just take the Falcons -2.5. They do feel like, you know, whether that's Kirk Cousins trying to put on a little bit of a show, whether that's for media purposes or some kind of future contract as a backup somewhere. Uh, Kyle Pitts Jr. or senior now, is he? He's I
Yeah, he's a
think
senior
he's
now.
senior now.
He's senior.
Uh, he like is obviously trying to make sure he has a landing spot because he's a free agent this summer, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
160 yards, 3 touchdowns last week.
I think they have more players who have something to prove than this Cardinals team, even though the Cardinals have been frisky throughout the season. But
Yeah, let's call this the
lose.
tight end bowl. Kyle Pitts versus Trey McBride. It's the only reason to watch this game.
You've had a few tight end bowls in your life, haven't you?
Balls or bowls?
Both. Usually one immediately after the other.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. I'll take a crappy team with the points against another crappy team. You're right. The Cardinals have been kind of frisky, and I just don't think the Falcons are very good. Jacoby Brissett's putting up like Heisman level numbers here, like 400 yards passing a game. So I'm sure he'll do that again. And as much as I never thought I'd say this, I'll take Jacoby Brissett over Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to temper the frisky side of things, right? Because they have lost, what, 9 in a row? 8 in a row? So
Yeah.
frisky, but they still are losing. Like, it's not as if the Falcons have almost been friskier in terms of mostly losing, but coming up with the occasional win. Um,
A lot of
Co-pilot,
friskiness in the tight end bowl.
a lot of friskiness. Co-pilot has Atlanta flies out of the oven with a 27-20 win as Kirk Cousins, yes, now a Falcon, connects twice with Drake London and leans on Bijan Robinson, who adds 110 yards.
Was he convincing himself or us that Kirk Cousins is now a Falcon?
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know. I couldn't believe it.
And the little bit of jazz to add to it is Falcons brought the cast iron skillet, Cardinals brought the spice rack, but Atlanta's recipe came out just right.
What's with one team bringing one thing, another team? Can no teams bring all the ingredients for something?
No,
The
I mean
Jets
this year
can't bring the sugar.
do
The
you know what?
Jets can't bring the sugar.
I'll
They
agree with
can't bring the
co-pilot.
bread.
I'll agree with co-pilot. The theme of this NFL season so far has been teams failing to bring all of the ingredients that they need.
Yeah.
So up next, the Jags at the Broncos. Actually, a pretty good game now. The Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. I can be
Yeah.
fast on this one too. As much as the Jags have been winning games recently, I still just don't believe that they're that good. This Broncos defense is legitimately, one of the 3 best in the NFL, and Bo Nix is improving as the season goes on. And also, just I trust him more in big moments of the game to come up with big plays or big drives versus Trevor Lawrence, who, whilst he's been better, still has dumb plays in him on a pretty consistent basis. So I think the combination of Trevor Lawrence being somewhat mistake prone and this Broncos really good defense, I actually think that the Broncos win this one pretty easily.
Lawrence has been better. Come on, he's had 9 touchdowns, no picks in his last 4 games. He's on fire.
Yeah, who's he played though?
I don't know. Who's anyone played? Just so real quick, what's at stake for this game? If the Broncos win and the Chargers lose, they clinch the AFC West, and they can technically clinch the number 1 seed. If the Chargers lose and the Patriots and the Bills lose, that's a little more unlikely. and the Jags need a win and a loss by the Texans or Colts to make the playoffs for sure. But like in this week, that will clinch a playoff spot for them. Uh, yeah, I know. I agree with you. Like as much as I even watched that last Broncos game and was really impressed, I still want to go against the Broncos. Like I never want to root for them, and I still don't think they're so great. But you're right. I mean, the Jags have beaten the Jets, the Colts, the Titans, and the Cardinals. Not a huge slate there. I'll take the Broncos to win and to cover. I'll ride with the Broncos here.
All right. Co-pilot agrees with us. Broncos winning 21-17, scoring late, defense clamps down. Jags QB Trevor Lawrence struggles against altitude. And the fun quote, Broncos slow cooked this one at altitude, tender but tough.
How
Then
can you
we
cook
have
something tender and tough?
no, tender but tough. So just up next we got the Raiders at the Texans. Texans are our heaviest favorite of the week. They're 14-point favorites.
Yeah, let's just keep this quick. Raiders are awful. Texans need to win. Texans will win. That's all I've got.
Yeah, I mean, as we've mentioned, again, Texans defense is legitimately very, very good. CJ Stroud seems to be, returning to form. So yeah, it's difficult to make a compelling case for this not being a blowout. So I'll take the Texans to win and the Texans to cover. And co-pilot, Houston keeps the burners hot with a 28-24 win as CJ Stroud throws for 310 yards and 3 touchdowns. Texans' young core continues to look like a playoff-ready recipe. Texans baked a perfect souffle. Raiders opened the oven too soon and it collapsed. That makes it sound like the Raiders are going to win.
Yeah.
Or that was like the both teams are trying to prepare the perfect souffle and the Raiders are going to let us down. And then the final game of that late slot, we have the Steelers at the Lions, and the Lions are 7-point favorites. Must win for the Lions, kind of not must win for the Steelers, although ideally they would win given their battle with the Ravens for that division and the playoff spots. I guess you can do the breakdown of what's at stake. The Lions really need, I think, ideally the Packers to have won the day before, right? To have made things as easy as possible for them or realistic as possible. But in short, they at least know they absolutely have to win this game.
Yeah, a must win for the Lions. So right now they're at a 36% chance, according to ESPN. That increases to about 50% with a win, and with a loss, pretty much drops them out. So it's a must win for them no matter what. And then, like you said, if other teams lose, it gives them a little better standing to kind of make their way up. And then the Steelers right now have a slight edge to make the playoffs over the Ravens. With a win, that goes to 80%. With a loss, it goes to basically even between the Ravens and the Steelers, which makes sense because then they play each other in the final week.
Yeah, I'll take the Steelers to win and to cover.
Whoa!
Sorry. The Lions to win and to cover.
Whew!
I'm not
Scared
fooled
me for a
by
second.
yes. I'm not fooled by the Steelers' performance on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins. I think everything you need to read into that game is the fact that Tua lost his job in the fallout from it. So yeah, I think this Lions team at home, I just can't imagine how Aaron Rodgers and that offense can keep pace with them. Like, unless this is one of those Lions performances where they just completely misfire, but they just need to be good for 3/4 of this game, and they will have too much for this Steelers team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll take the Lions to win. I'll take them to cover. Yeah, it's you love to say the Lions are the super fast team, and this is a week I really agree because I feel like the Steelers are, and maybe this is unfair, but I feel like they're like a slower team in a way. Like their defense feels a little older, a little slower. So this is a terrible matchup, I think, for for the Steelers. I think the Lions will just run the field up and down with them. Um, and the stat that I thought was pretty interesting is Aaron Rodgers, who obviously is known for, you know, his great deep ball and really nice intermediate, middle of the field routes. He's averaging 5.6 air yards per attempt, which is the fewest in the NFL and is on pace to be the fewest in a season as a full-time starter. So he's clearly, kind of relying on checkdowns and short passes and not kind of what he used to be. And I think that's indicative of their season. They're kind of just dinking and diving their way to maybe a 500 record, but not super impressive.
No, but that could still see them end up in the playoffs. Co-pilot agrees with us. Well, it has the Lions winning, although not covering. Detroit wins 28-24. Jared Goff throws 3 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown shines. The Steelers, you'll love this one. The Steelers brought the grill, but the Lions brought the sauce. And then Sunday Night Football. We have the Patriots at the Ravens. Feels like a little bit of a throwback game, right? This feels like suddenly being 10 years ago, 11 years ago when Patriots-Ravens games were really, really important.
Yeah.
That was maybe slight, that was kind of in a sense exactly what they are like now in terms of standings, where you had a Patriots team competing for the bye and a Ravens team trying to just make sure they made the playoffs. This is very reminiscent of Flacco versus Brady, but the Ravens are 3-point favorites.
I can't believe the Ravens are 3-point favorites. As much as I am someone who doesn't fully believe the Patriots are as good as their 11-3 record is, it's still a little crazy to me that there's that little respect. I know it's in Baltimore, but still that there's that little respect for a Ravens team that hasn't really impressed us all season, minus maybe like 1 or 2 games that they looked really good in. And the other ones just kind of, mediocre. The only issue I think is the Bills ran all over the Pats, and the Ravens had to have watched that and said, "You know what we should do? We should stop trying to not run the ball and just fucking run the ball." I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to have like 50 carries this game, and I think they beat the Patriots. I don't I As crazy as it is, I think they beat the Patriots even though the Patriots are probably the better team here. They can't stop the run, and as long as the Ravens do that, I think they'll win.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots are definitely the better team, right? I do agree with you. And this is kind of must win for both teams, because whilst for the Ravens, they're fighting for their playoff lives. For the Patriots, they lose this and the Bills win, and the complexion in that division, starts to change pretty radically. So, this is, I suppose if you're the Ravens, you're slightly upset that the Bills managed to pull off that comeback last week, because you could have had this game with the Patriots slightly taking their eye off the ball had they beaten the Bills a week ago. But yeah, I think whilst they both have every reason to win, this is Ravens pulling out all the stops. So you've got to let Lamar loose. You've got to just try and run the ball down their throats. So yeah, I'll agree with you. I'll take the Ravens to win and the Ravens to cover. But, also prepare yourself next episode when a major talking point is that the Ravens defense gave up 35 points to the Patriots and the Lions absolutely shat the bed against the Steelers, and that the Steelers now are in complete, control of that division. So yeah, we'll see. Co-pilot, Baltimore rolls 31-20. Lamar Jackson accounts for 4 touchdowns. Zay Flowers racks up 120 yards. And Pat's quarterback Drake May struggles. And the cooking quip is that the Ravens boiled the pasta perfectly. The Patriots forgot the salt. And then we wrap
too many forgettings of this. Yeah, what I don't understand it.
We wrap things up with the Niners at the Colts. The Niners are 6-point favorites. I mean, we kind of spoke about it last episode, right? I think there are fewer worse matchups for Phillip Rivers in this Colts team than a Niners defense that has been pinning its ears back in recent weeks, and where Robert Saleh can prepare for an opponent where he basically knows that everything has to happen within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like, this is, I think it will look like there's 15 Fred Warners out there, even though there won't be a single one. So I would honestly take the Niners -12 in this game. I think -6 is surprisingly low. And feels like a massive overreaction to what we saw from the Colts last week, given how heavy of an underdog they were against the Seahawks. Like, okay, this is now a home game, but this feels slightly bizarre to me. And the Niners have been very good this year at just beating bad teams. And I think with Rivers, you now have to put the Colts in that category. So yeah, I'll take them to win and then take them to cover.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Colts have gone 3 straight games now, scoring fewer than 20 points. They haven't done that since 2017. I think that'll be another time when they're not going to score 20 points again. So they're going to go a fourth game. Uh, the Niners defense, I think the Niners defense has looked really good because they've played pretty shitty teams, but I don't think the
Oh,
Colts
this is
offense
another
right
one.
now is much better. So, so I'll take the Niners to win and to cover.
Yeah. And co-pilot. San Francisco wins 27-20. San Francisco wins 27-20. Brock Purdy throws 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey adds 100 yards. And Colts quarterback Phillip Rivers flashes, but protection collapses. Now, to finish off this week, one team is going to bring something. The other team is going to forget something. I will give you a 25-pound free bet if you can guess what the one team forgot to bring.
What is it to? Can you give me a hint? Are they bringing it to like the kitchen table? Or are they bringing it
You're,
to like the
I'm gonna give you
stove?
I'm gonna give you the start of the
Okay,
sentence. You just 49ers baked the cake. Colts forgot the blank.
I got 2 in my head here. Did the Colts also forget the sugar?
What was your other thought?
Flour.
Neither are correct. Oven mitts.
Oh, what idiots! They forgot oven mitts. Is that
So
how
yeah,
that ends, or is it they forgot oven mitts and burned their hands? Is there like a something after that?
nope, just how it ends. They just forgot the oven
Just
mitts.
forgot the oven mitts.
We're not sure exactly what the repercussion of that is and who's affected more.
I
And
don't know.
that's in the words of Copilot, that's the full week 16 menu. Every game a dish, every team rising or burning under playoff pressure.
Okay.
So moving on, we can speak about college football playoffs get underway today. As we discussed last episode, couple decent games, including like today's game, the best Alabama Oklahoma. Then tomorrow, Miami Texas A&M is a pretty good game. But then we kind of round things off with Tulane Ole Miss and James Madison against Oregon, which should be both incredibly one-sided games. So with that in mind, I'll just give you just 2 questions for you, basically. Who wins out of Alabama, Oklahoma, and who wins out of Miami against Texas A&M?
So the Alabama Oklahoma game, they've already played once this year, and Oklahoma won 23-21. So kind of off of that, a lot of there's a lot of, well, they've beaten them once, they can probably beat them again. They've beaten them the last few years. The difference is, if I don't know if you watched that game. I watched that game. That game, Alabama had signed, sealed, and delivered. If they could just not turn the ball over, they doubled them in yardage. They had a 400 yards game versus Oklahoma put up 200 yards. Oklahoma only had 12 first downs. Alabama had 23, but they just had 3 turnovers, Alabama, and then they were costly turnovers. They play that game again and they don't turn one of those turnovers, they win the game. And I think this game now, Alabama's coming in even hotter than they were in that game. I like Mateer as a quarterback, but I think Simpson is much better, and I think that Alabama defense is better. Even though Oklahoma's defense is good, I think Alabama's is just cooking right now. So I'm gonna take Alabama to win that game.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, as you know, when in doubt, I pick Alabama, but it's hard not to have my perception of this game heavily tainted by what we saw from Alabama last time out against Georgia, which is tough because Georgia are better than either of these 2 teams. So
Yeah.
Like, it's not a fair standard to necessarily hold Alabama to, but it is difficult to go into a somewhat of a toss-up game when the last time you saw one of the two teams, they were getting absolutely blown out by a different one. That it does sort of last long in your mind. I'm gonna have to do what I do and pick Alabama. I will, fall on my sword if necessary, but I don't wanna regret suddenly switching to the Sooners when, you know, I'm a consistent Alabama backer. So, and the
So,
Miami game?
the well, real quick, the crazy stat from that game, if Oklahoma wins, it would be the first program to to beat Alabama twice in a season since 1893.
Who was that? The Union Army?
I don't know. And the Miami game, yeah, it's Miami, Texas A&M. Texas A&M only loss against Texas at the end of the season. Kind of a shitty way to end their season. They were kind of riding it into the SEC championship and lost. Miami, they had that good win against Notre Dame first game of the season, but they have two losses to Louisville and to SMU, which is not a great loss. That's a pretty shitty loss. The key thing is I actually watched both of their losses because I think they both might have been later games for some reason. There wasn't else much on. Carson Beck looked awful in those games. And Louisville one in particular, he had 4 interceptions. Like he couldn't get out of his own fucking way that game. Like he single-handedly blew that game for them. And when he's good, Carson Beck. But when he is off and he is kind of loose with the ball and turning it over, they cannot win this game because they are solely relying on him. And I think Texas A&M's defense is going to be strong enough that they can put him in some tough situations, and he's going to turn that ball over. And as soon as he does, then that's game over for Miami. So I'm going to take Texas A&M to win this game. Um, I think they'll keep it close, and if Beck has a good pocket and he's got time to throw, they can win this game. But I just think A&M's going to kind of try and put a ton of pressure on them, and I think they'll be able to win. I mean, A&M, they've got some good wins in their schedule too. So, I think they'll beat them. Also,
Yeah.
a common win against Notre Dame as well. They both beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, I lean, that performance against Louisville looms large, I think, in the mind in terms of confidence that you can have in a quarterback. So yeah, I think with that in mind, I'll pick Texas to win this game.
And then the other two, I think, I think they're pretty straightforward. Uh, I mean, anyone who's scared of point spreads, uh, and I understand. I'll just throw out the fact that you have Ole Miss playing Tulane, and right now I think the spread is 17.5. They've played earlier in the season, and Ole Miss beat them 45-10. And when I mean they beat them, I mean they fucking demolished them. Like it was, and the only thing Tulane has going for them is it has Retzlaff as their quarterback, who used to be the quarterback for BYU. Retzlaff was the quarterback, so he was a good quarterback at BYU, and so they have a good QB, but just overall, I mean, the talent level is not even close. The only issue you have with Ole Miss is they don't have their head coach anymore, and how well that or how much that's going to matter, we really don't know yet. Um, and
Plenty of time to prepare, though. That's the one good thing, right?
yeah,
It's not like they lost their head coach and then 4 days later had to play a game. They've had a couple of weeks to work things out and rally round and figure out what their playbook and stuff was gonna look like.
yeah, and the other game, Oregon, James Madison again, a what is it, 20 points, I think. Um, James Madison only played one or two, I think, like Power Five schools. I don't know if Washington State's considered Power Five anymore, but they lost, and that was Louisville, 28-14. And Louisville is not a very good team, so uh, I would expect Oregon to come out and blow them out of the water as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the most enticing slate of games, and it's a shame that kinda starts. I mean, I guess if you were being positive, I suppose you would say tonight's They're not up against anything, and then tomorrow the Miami Texas A&M game is before the Saturday night NFL games,
Yeah.
and then you have the kind of duds of the matchups clashing with NFL important NFL playoff picture games. So it's sort of the right way round in that from that perspective. But yeah, at least it's a packed schedule of sporting events. On top of that, we got the third test of the Ashes going on. England are looking like they're on course to go 3-0 down, so that's good news. And in football, Premier League has got a couple of interesting clashes, but nothing too dramatic. Big story out of the world of football is, I don't know if you saw anything with the African Cup of Nations that's about to take place, and drama in various teams there in terms of
Oh,
selection. And you've not seen any of these stories?
is Mo Salah off the Egypt team as well?
No. So the big drama is that is Cameroon, who submitted 2 squads for the AFCON. So basically, their coach, their manager at the time, Pagu, announced their official squad list on the 9th of December. So sorry, I got that the wrong way. Mark Brees was the manager of Cameroon, but was removed from the position by Samuel Eto'o, who is the Cameroon's FA president.
Okay.
However, the Mark Brees claims that he was not actually officially removed from as a manager, so that he has not been formally dismissed, and that there's only been media coverage of his removal, but there's been no direct communication from the Cameroon Football Federation. And so as far as he's concerned, he is still manager of Cameroon heading into this tournament.
I love
So
that move.
yeah. So on this so on the same day, both he and the replacement manager, Pagu, announced 2 squads, which had several differences between them. So Pagu's squad included Onana, and Abubakar. Excluded Onana, Abubakar, Choupo-Moting, and a couple of others, with the speculation being that part of why Brees lost his job is that Abubakar is close to breaking the Cameroon all-time goal-scoring record, which is held by Samuel Eto'o, the president of the Cameroonian Football Association. And so some of the speculation is that he did not want this record to be broken, and so did
Wow.
not want Abubakar included in the squad list. And the insistence of Mark Brees that he would be included is part of why he was being removed.
That's
So,
insane. That's
yes.
crazy. I love what a power move. It's like I'm not fired. I'm still I'm still like, do they both show up to the training grounds and like both just start coaching?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, as far as Cameroon is concerned, the Pagu list is the correct one, and they do not expect those players to travel or those players to be involved in the African Cup of Nations. Their first match is on Christmas Eve against
Oh
Gabon.
boy.
Their important match is the Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, on the 28th of December. So not long to go. But yeah, it seems as if it just it's a shame, right? Because the accusation that can always be leveled at AFCON is that it feels a little bit amateurish, and this just feels extremely amateurish. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot imagine that this is Germany heading into the Euros and that a similar incident is going on. It's just unimaginable.
Yeah, it's definitely true. That's funny.
And yeah, any other sporting topics to discuss?
No.
Oh, we didn't discuss the Hunger Games that are going to take place in the United States soon.
Eddie. Patriot games. Patriot games.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
wonderful.
see if I can get my name in the Goblet of Fire.
Well, it's high school students only, seemingly.
I know.
So for those unfamiliar, Donald Trump has announced that the Patriots Games, a 4-day athletic event featuring one man and one woman from each state and U.S. territory, congratulations, Puerto Rico, will be taking place to celebrate America's 250th anniversary.
So
And, like,
stupid.
the problem I have with this, right, is that in isolation, the Patriots games, it's not the worst idea. However, given everything else that's going on and all of their other policies and the slightly dystopian feel to a lot of stuff, the tendency to view this as a version of the Hunger Games is, like, I it's
Yeah.
hard to avoid, and so it's like, yeah, the idea itself is not terrible, but it's not a great look.
It was no, what was really funny to me was I read an article where they were like, like, yeah, there's been a lot of activities are gonna happen for the 250th anniversary. There's gonna be a bunch of high school kids competing against each other in a competition. There's gonna be a UFC fight on the White House lawn. It's like it sounds like we're just animals.
Yeah. And there'll be
It's like,
public
what else can we
executions
do?
because they also
Let's
want those to come back, so,
Yeah,
you know.
let's do a free solo climb up the Washington Monument. See if anyone can get up. Like what other like thing are we gonna start fighting animals or something? Like it sounds so aggressive, some of the things. Like, this is how we're celebrating the country. We're just gonna have people knocking each other out in the fucking lawn. It was I got a pretty good laugh out of that. Yeah, I agree. Like the Patriots games is a decent idea where it would kind of be it could be something that could be cool where it's like, oh, I was selected to compete in the Patriot games and I'm gonna do these random athletic events. But like it the fact that they like almost even used the word tributes, like it's in reference to the Hunger Games. It was so like, and you knew people were gonna instantly link that to the Hunger Games. Like that was just not smart on their end.
No, that and you also this year had The Road, which was, a reasonably popular movie, which again, the concept's not that dissimilar to sort of try and improve, it's like inspire people within the country. One young man from every state is forced to walk until everyone else dies. Like,
Yeah.
like the concept there is often used by, but like, so yeah, it's hard to be critical of the individual moment. It's just, it seems to
The
be,
context.
yeah, the context is extremely important in this moment.
Yeah.
I also did you see Bryson DeChambeau making his appearance at that Christmas party where uh, Donald Trump introduced him as reigning US Open champion?
Yeah.
Which disappointment for JJ Spawn to know that he's been stripped of his title. That must have been that must have been sad for him to find out that way.
That one didn't count. Yeah. All right. I guess with that, we'll wrap it up and call it a day.
Sounds good.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.